Hello everyone, it's me, Robert, and well, first of all I have to say to everyone, I hope you had a great Christmas. I certainly did. It was pretty awesome, to be honest. But I hope you had a really good Christmas. I hope you got everything you wanted. I will be doing a haul at the end of this video, but like with last year, that'll be at the end. So if you want to watch that, go skip this, or, you know, stick around, because I'm going to have a review of the year of what was good, what was bad. But before I do, Luke Hollywood, one of my co-hosts on Iconic Reviews, in fact, one of my new co-hosts, go listen to the 1 year anniversary show, go on, it's good, has just done his first YouTube video. Congratulations, mate, you're a YouTuber now. It's great to see you do videos. Make more. We want to see more now. Now you've done your first, you'll be hooked. It's like a drug. Once you've taken your first sniff, you can't go back. Wow. Actually, no, that's a bad analogy. Don't use that. It's very bad. But yeah, congrats, and I look forward to seeing more in the new year. But what am I going to talk about? Well, for the next 30 odd minutes, I'm going to be having a review of the year of 2013. Now, 2013, it was a good year and a bad year. It had some ups and it had some downs. But more about that later. So let's start in January, where it began. And for me, January was a bit of a shit month, to be honest. It was a bad start to the year. I had mocks, which meant I was away from the podcast for a bit. There weren't any Iconic Reviews out for the first month of 2013. It was stressful, just had Christmas, and then you had to go back to mocks. It weren't very good. It wasn't a good start to the year, and it was just, oh, the New Year's come, here's some exams, go do them. So I didn't enjoy that much. But saying that, the only good thing that happened in January was that this channel reached 100 subs, which is still amazing. I can't believe people want to do that. Although, to be honest, it's not really 100 subs. It's probably about 50, because half of the people that subscribed eons ago probably aren't even on YouTube anymore. So, hey, it's 100 in name, but 50 in number, probably. So yeah, January wasn't a great start. Not really a good start to the year, to be honest. It was a bit shit. And when you start a year of being shit, it's not very good. However, February came, and Iconic Reviews, we started to review Autocracy. Now, let me give you a little bit background. Up until that point, we as Iconic Reviews, e.g. me and Jim at the time, had only really been reviewing spotlights and a mini-series. So when we went on to Autocracy, which was 12 issues long, it was kind of an eye-opener for us. 12 weeks, that's nearly 3 months, it was tough. By the end of it, I was exhausted, but it was actually a lot of fun, and I really liked it. We had some great guests. We had Raz, Adam, Steve. They were the first 3 guests on the show. They also came back throughout it. And we also had, like, just, it was generally just an eye-opener for us. It was a good reviewing session. And by all means, if you want to go back and listen to the reviews of Autocracy, go on, because there's still some good stuff said in there. But also, that month, I met up with Jim for the first time. Some of you, that's going to be a shock and surprise, because you would have thought that I met Jim at Auto Assembly. Well, no, I didn't meet him last year at AA, which is a shame, because he went. I didn't know who he was then. It was only after AA that I was like, oh, who's this guy? Oh, he's called Jim. Oh, I wonder who he is. And so, yeah, in February, we actually met for the first time. If you want to see a video more about that, go and check out the video I did afterwards. It's got some footage from that weekend. It was a day. We met in London for the day. We went around Forbidden Planet, brought some shit, talked about the podcast, and just had a great time, to be honest. And if you want to go and see some clips of that, go and check out the video. It'll be in my videos. You can find it easily. But yeah, it was just so great to meet Jim. And of course, it was going back to London, where the London meet was. So it was a bit of a nostalgia for me as well. So it was really good to meet Jim. And yeah, so February was quite an awesome month, actually. A lot happened in terms of the podcast and in terms of like me, and it was just, if February could have been January, then the whole year would have been slightly much better. But as I said, I'll get onto that at the end. March. Now, it wasn't necessarily in March. It's been across the whole of this year, and some of the issues are from last year, but More Than Meets the Eye and RID. I'm just going to take a bit out here to talk about them. More Than Meets the Eye this year has been brilliant. It has been up to scratch, up to par with its first year. In fact, better in many ways. So has RID. RID, I think, is the most that's improved. More Than Meets the Eye has kept its high level of standard, but it hasn't really improved on what it could do. More RID, however, it has gone up extremely well. Some of the stories in it were amazing. Shadowplay. Shadowplay, I read at the beginning of this year. I can't remember when. I did make a video about it, my initial reactions to the ending of it, but I read it even though it came out last year, and I loved it. I absolutely loved the story. I love pre-war Cybertron stories. It's great to see Orion Pax. It's great to see a Zeta Prime at the end of it. It's a nice thing. It's great to see the identity of this mysterious senator actually revealed, and it's Shockwave, which, again, I'm growing towards. I actually like the idea now, to be honest. I mean, a couple of months ago I would have hated the idea, and if anyone had come up to me and said, "Oh, wasn't the ending of Shadowplay good?" I would have turned around to them and said, "Don't be ridiculous, you fool. It was the most ridiculous decision they could have ever made in More Than Meets the Eye." But yeah, I'm growing to it now. But it was just so good. I love it. It was a fresh idea and a fresh story, and the way it was told as this story in the bar on the Lost Light, it was just great sense. Some nice comedy moments, but some serious moments as well, and the ending was just brilliant. And then, of course, Remain in the Light. Remain in the Light is my favourite story arc in More Than Meets the Eye. Not only do you have so many pieces of continuity in IDW tied up, you have the introduction of, you actually see for the first time, Tyrist, which is awesome. I mean, he's a character in IDW who's been talked about a lot over the past 4 years, and we've never actually seen him. And then Remain in the Light just shows him, and shows what an absolute crackpot he is. But I love the character anyway. And Farmer, my god, when Farmer returned for Remain in the Light, I was just, joy ran through me. It was amazing. I do love the character of Farmer. And yes, he is a bit like the Joker. I've heard quite a few people say that now. Yeah, he's a bit like that. I can't wait to see him return, to be honest. Because he's going to return, and Starsaber's going to return as well, that zealot. Oh, that religious zealot, he's going to return. Probably around the time that they release his Masterpiece next year. Yeah, I wonder. But I'm looking forward to that. And just, even the characters of the Lost Light, like poor Tailgate, throughout the whole of the arc, knowing that he's going to die and that he had this countdown, it was just brilliant. Remain in the Light was a great way to round up their first year, 2 years of storyline in More Than Meets the Eye. It was just awesome, and it left you with so many more questions as well. So I cannot wait to see where they go from there and what becomes of it. What little bits of story are thrown off from it. It was absolutely awesome. And yeah, Dark Cybertron also. It's big now. Dark Cybertron is here. We're in the midst of Dark Cybertron. I'm still undecided about it. I said in the last video, I'm like, Dark Cybertron. But I don't know. I'm still undecided. It could be good. It could be bad. I'm just waiting to see how they end it, to be honest, and where they go from here. Although we have got a confirmation that the third series now of comics is going to be the Wingblade mini, 4 issues I think it is, which is slightly weird. Females in IDW, they've had a big sort of conversation about that. The writer said stuff, and everyone said like, I'm just waiting to see how they go here. It's obviously to market the toy, the fans' toy that's coming out by Hasbro, but I'm interested to see what's going to happen with that. But yeah, More Than Meets the Eye, and RID, I've talked a hell of a lot about More Than Meets the Eye. RID, the whole story of the attack on Icon, and Prowl's revelation, it was just awesome. I loved it. for me, RID, in fact, that whole arc was better than what was going on with More Than Meets the Eye at the time, which was the Overlord return, which I have some views of the Overlord return. They're not. Yes, more Autobots should have died, but no, not key Autobot characters, not any members of the Lost Light that reappear, like Tailgate, Cyclonus, Swerve, Rodimus. I mean, like background characters like Atomizer or Cosmos or Blue Streak, who suddenly appeared in one panel, or Siren. Some of these people who have only appeared in like one panel of More Than Meets the Eye, they could have had a whole page of character development for their death, if you see what I mean. They could have had so much character development, but instead, Pipes dies, and that's it. And Rewind, but let's face it, Rewind's not dead. He's going to come back. I bet any money Rewind is going to come back next year in More Than Meets the Eye. I will bet a huge amount of money on that. But yeah, awesome comics, and I'm looking forward to seeing where they go next year. Also out in March was a certain game, a certain Bioshock Infinite game, which I have to say, Bioshock Infinite is my game of the year this year. It was absolutely amazing. Its combat system is good. It's not the best combat system in games, but the storyline is where it's at. It ties in quantum physics with historical settings, with your Bioshock-esque theme, and just mixes them up into some sort of game which just throws it at you, and you're like, what? And then the ending, which is a huge revelation. The fact that there is multiple universes existing at once, and that there's multiple Bookers and multiple Elizabeths, and in most of these universes, Booker becomes Comstock, etc., etc. I just love it. I love that. The first time I actually saw that ending, I was like, wow. I took 5 minutes to just sit there and go, wow, what's happened? What? Help? And then, of course, I went on the internet and looked at videos to try and explain the ending a bit further. But it's phenomenally well done. One of the best Bioshocks to date. Is it as better than Bioshock 1? Now, there's a different argument there completely, because Bioshock 1 is different for different reasons. But I would say they're on par with each other. It's definitely better than Bioshock 2, though. I mean, come on. Anything's better than Bioshock 2. But then, of course, later on this year, we had the DLC, Burial at Sea, which I've played. I love. We're back in Rapture, which is so cool. But it's not the Rapture that we thought it was. It's a different Rapture, in which there's voxophones, and in which plasmids are like Vigors, in which there's some weird stuff happening, in which it's before the fall of Rapture. In fact, it's the day before Rapture falls. And then the ending, which is, I'm not going to say anything now in case you haven't played it, but the ending of Burial at Sea Part 1 is interesting, to say the least. And then, of course, next year we're getting Burial at Sea Part 2, in which we get to play as Elizabeth, which, again, I'm looking forward to immensely. I will do a review sometime of Bioshock Infinite as a whole, with all of its DLCs, but that'll probably be next year sometime, because that'll take a long time to sort of edit together and come up with. But yeah, brilliant year. March was a brilliant month. Not only did I have an awesome game to play, but brilliant comics as well. April then. April. And Iconic Reviews starts to do something different. We have our first interview with Livio Ramondelli. Which, here's a little background information for everyone. It didn't really... We was all ready and planned, and then when we got the times wrong, basically. So there was Jim sort of trying to find me desperately, and I was actually in here, actually, playing the Xbox. Because, again, timing difference, we thought it was earlier, but anyway. And yeah, so it didn't get off to a good start, but the actual interview was brilliant. And Livio Ramondelli is a fantastic guy. So patient. It's just like having a chat with just a normal guy, really. You didn't really know he was an artist. He's so friendly. If he will be coming to Auto Assembly next year, 2014. If he's watching this, I doubt he's watching this. Yeah, right. I look forward to having a drink with you, sir, and catching up on old times. Old times, my goodness. but yeah, I can't wait to meet him again at next year's AA, which will be quite cool. Plus, we may be doing something with him this year, next year, you know. If you listen to the 1 year anniversary show, you probably know what it is, but yeah, we might be doing something with him. Not spoiling anything or not. But that was awesome. It was just, wow. It was our first experience of an interview. In fact, it's our only interview. We were planning to interview Andrew Griffith at Auto Assembly, but he was busy, so hopefully we'll get round to interviewing him next year. But it was eye-opening, because once you do your first interview, you get a much better understanding of what podcasters go through when they're interviewing. You start to realise that actually there is more to podcasting than you thought. But it was a great eye-opener, and it was just a great chat we had with him. By all means, check it out. It's on the podcast website. Go on, check it out. Not that I'm sponsoring the podcast in any way or trying to get you to go onto the website in any way, you know. Get going. No, I'm kidding. Also that month, Iron Man 3. I went and saw it with a couple of friends. It was good. It was good up until the ending, when they sort of just went, and there's going to be no more Iron Man until Avengers 2. Basically, at the end of the film, if you don't know, Tony Stark gets his thing that's stopping the shard from going in his heart removed, and he's all fine. Well, why couldn't they have done that in like Iron Man 1 or 2? It's just... And then Pepper, his girlfriend type thing, is cured instantly, whereas like nobody else is cured of the fire stuff. It's a bit rushed, the ending. It's a lot rushed, actually. But the actual film was quite good. Him blowing up his Iron Man suits, why? That's pointless. You know he's going to come back in Avengers 2, Age of Ultron I think it's called, and just be Iron Man, so what's the point in doing that? I don't see a point. They could have just said, he keeps the Iron Man suits but goes into retirement, so that when Avengers 2 comes around, he doesn't have to build a whole new range of suits, which he's bound to, because he's going to be in Avengers 2, obviously, because it's the Avengers. It can't be the Avengers without Iron Man, because then it's not the Avengers, is it? But who knows? But yeah, that was April. May saw the release of Star Trek Online's first expansion pack, Legacy of Romulus. Now, I am a huge player of Star Trek Online. I play it quite a lot. It's, in my opinion, it's one of the best MMOs out there, or free-to-play MMOs out there, because you can do so much in it. But when they said that they were going to release an expansion pack, I was like, does that mean you're going to have to pay for it? But then no, it was completely free. The whole expansion pack was free, which I could not believe. And so I went on it and played it, and I loved it. I love the Romulans as an enemy, as a fraction, as an empire in Star Trek. I like their culture, and being able to play them and do missions based around them, and based around how, in the future, why Romulus exploded, who are the Alarchi, the Tal Shiar's involvement, and all of this other stuff. And it was just great. It was nice little set pieces that it added to the game. They also did some other updates where you went to the Planet of Peace. I can't remember the name now. I'm terrible. In Star Trek Final Frontier. You know, the bad film. It is bad. I'm not the only one that thinks that. It's bad. Yeah, you can go there now and do some missions, which is quite cool. It advanced the storyline slightly. But yeah, it was good. And while we're on the subject of Star Trek Online, they've recently released their spheres, Dyson Sphere arena or area, which is quite good actually. And I do like the reputation system of the Dyson Spheres. It's much quicker, I find, than the other reputations. I've never really explored reputation much, even though most of my characters are level 50. But with Dyson, it's like I'm level 1 of reputation within several days of playing it. It's ridiculous. And plus, they've got the winter event on at the moment, which I like because this year it's a new Breen ship, but you can also try out for last year's Breen ship, which I've done. Although obviously I'm not going to be able to get it this year because I haven't been on enough days to actually do the race. so it'll probably be next year by the time I get it. But it's nice that they have that feature in there. But yeah, apart from that, May was a bit of a bad month again. I took a break from the podcast because I had revision to do because exams were coming up, and it was a bit. It was a bit. How do I say it? It was a lot of work and stress in May, and so I thought I better get away from the podcast. But it was great because Jim took over for really the first time and reviewed the Prime prequel mini-series, which is like 4 issues with a load of new people, new guests, and I loved to listen to it because I had nothing to do with it. He would send me over the recording, I would listen to it, and it'd just be fun to listen to. So yeah, once again, thanks Jim for doing that. I probably thanked you at the time, but thanks for taking over for a month and a bit. It was awesome. But yeah, it was also my birthday in May, actually. May the 10th is my birthday, and I didn't get many presents. I got Prime Ultra Magnus, the first Ultra Magnus, not the Beast Hunters one, the first one, because I think that looks more like a Wrecker, but that's just me, you know. But yeah, as part of my birthday present, I went up to London beforehand and went to see Monty Python and Spamalot. That's it, Spamalot, the Monty Python show. It was really funny, actually. I've talked about this again in probably one of my previous videos, but it was just an enjoyable time. Also went round Orbital Comics again and picked up some of the G1 comics in a trade form, which was awesome. It was a nice relaxing thing before the exams, and then the only other thing that happened in May was Star Trek Into Darkness, which I did go and see with a friend. Yeah, Star Trek Into Darkness. What do I say about it? When I first went and saw it, I liked it, and now I don't, frankly. To me, its story is weak. It's taking too many points from previous Star Trek films, like The Wrath of Khan and, I don't know, Undiscovered Country with the explosion, the Klingon's moon exploded, and all these other little references that they're putting in here just to make the film good. You don't make a film good by putting in references. It has to have a good storyline and good actors. And the actors were good. I like the actors. Benedict Cumberbatch's Khan kind of worked. That was at the point when Benedict Cumberbatch hadn't been in much, so I was like, oh, he'll be good. But I mean, like now he's been in everything, and I'm just fed up of him, to be honest. Not that he's a bad actor. I'm just sick to death of him in films playing roles. Sorry, but I am. So yeah, Star Trek Into Darkness, it was an okay film. Not the best. I still prefer the 2009 7 film to that one, because yeah, it weren't good. So it's interesting to see what Star Trek 3, whatever they'll call that, in the J.J. Abrams universe will be like, because it could be bad. But hey, June was actually the worst month of this year because it was all exams and stress and exams and more stress and more exams, and it weren't very nice. The less I talk about that month, the better. The only actual relief was that was when we got the reveal of all the nice generation toys from BotCon, so like your Skids and your Rhinoxes and your Double Dealers and your Whirls and all that, and everyone was like, yeah, we're going to get some cool looking stuff, and like the Springers and the Blitzwings and other stuff like that. I think it was then, yeah. And so that was nice, because that was near the end of the month after I finished exams, so I sort of finished it, and then there was the reveals, and I was like, oh, that's quite interesting. But yeah, June was a bad month, to be honest. So moving quickly into July, I started to make more videos on YouTube. I did come back to Iconic Reviews. But one film in particular stood out for that month. Pacific Rim. I love Pacific Rim. I really do like Pacific Rim. Now, I recently saw Tom Armory Reviews 1 video on it. And yeah, I agree with a lot what you're saying, mate, about how it's quite cliche film and how some of the technobabble didn't make sense. Yeah, I agree, but I still like it for what it is. It could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot more cheesy. It could have been... the story could have been a lot worse than it was, but I still like it. And as you'll see later on, one of my presents this Christmas was actually it on DVD. But Tom, if you're watching this, I do recommend you go and read the book, because later on this year I did pick up the book for the actual film, and it goes into a hell of a lot of a backstory. It gives you a lot of character development, which you don't see in the film. Character development for the scientists, character development for the Jaeger pilots. Hell, even some development of like what was happening beforehand in that 7 years of war. It's a very good read. I would recommend it to anyone who quite likes Pacific Rim or wants to know more about the background of Pacific Rim. But yeah, and also what was released was At World's End, with Simon Pegg and I can't remember the other guy. Oh, that's terrible. But yeah, that was really funny film actually. I went and saw that the day before Pacific Rim. It's a funny film. I would highly recommend you go and watch it. It's not one of their best. I still think one of their best is Hot Fuzz, but it's a funny film. And if you're up for a laugh, definitely go and watch that. If you like sci-fi, then go and watch it because it's a nice comedy sci-fi to watch. But also in July, I did go on a holiday to Madeira, which was strange because I sort of went out there later. My parents sort of went first and I went out later. That was a little bit of a stressful, but once I got out there, it was really nice. Very hot as well. But it was really relaxing for the week I was out there. And it was actually a couple of weeks before AA, so it was nice to have that relaxing thing before the huge madness of auto assembly. But yeah, it was a nice relaxing break. I would go back to Madeira if I do get the chance. I would suggest it to anyone if you're thinking of going on holiday. Go to Madeira. It's a nice island. It's not too far from the UK. US, it's probably a bit further. Anyone in Europe, you'll be fine. But it's just really relaxing. So moving into April, and well, it was Auto Assembly 2013, and for me, it was my best Auto Assembly. I've only been to 2. I went this year and last year, but this year for me was much better than last year. There was more of a social interaction. I met so many great people, more than last year, and it was just generally all round a more enjoyable time. You can go and watch my AA videos on it. Actually, it was recorded the day I got back from AA, or the day after, so I was still sort of hyper and just getting over it. So go, if you want to find out more about how I enjoyed the event, go and watch that, because they're quite long, be warned though, they're quite long. But yeah, Auto Assembly was best. It was just amazing. And of course, the podcast, we was there. We recorded a couple of things, which was quite nice. One of them was an interview with a couple of fans. Another one was a review of the first Marvel comic of Transformers with a couple of guys. That was really good. But yeah, it was just brilliant. And of course, the podcast panel where me and Jim were pushed up to go to just speak, which was a bit daunting. I mean, I didn't know it was going to happen, so we were sort of going, spotlight, hot rod, So yeah, but you can go and watch the recording of that. I'm sure Shut Up and Watch This have it, or another podcast has it. I'm sure you'll find it. But yeah, that was brilliant. That was the highlight. Actually, that was the highlight of this year, Auto Assembly. Everything else was seemed to a bit dull this year, but Auto Assembly was the one thing that stood out for me and went, bam, that did it. But then, of course, after AA, I had exam results. And sort of the exam results combined with the downfall of AA and the feeling you get after AA, it wasn't a great combination. I didn't do extremely well. I did quite poorly in my exam results this year. So that mixed with the sort of, oh, Auto Assembly's over, meant that I was a bit sad. I say sad. I'm not going to say depressed because I went, oh, I'm so depressed. But I was a bit down for the rest of the month, which is not nice, and is why I sort of went off making videos for like 2 months afterwards. So yeah, sorry guys, but that's what happens. And hopefully that won't be every year, because by the time I finish, hopefully next year I'll be at uni, so that won't happen. But yeah, after that downfall, it was September. And in September, a hell of a lot happened. It was a real busy month, in fact. Firstly, I found out that 2 YouTubers live within 5 minutes of me. One that way and one that way. I'm not joking. Literally, it's that way and that way. 5 minutes car drive, about 10 to 15 minute walk. It's hardly anything. And that's Ben Washshot 32. I can't remember the number after it, and Mr. John John. So that is awesome. I cannot believe they're actually here. I've been doing YouTube now for about several years, and I have watched their videos, not realising that they've actually been around here. It's surprising I haven't bumped into any of them, which is quite funny. But now I know who's been stealing all the comics from my local comic book shop. I'm kidding. No, but hopefully we will meet in the new year. Hopefully I'll get the meet organised, and quite a lot of the Transformers fans from around here, we're going to try and meet up and just generally chill out and chat, and it should be good, fun. But yeah, also, we started to review Infiltration. Iconic Reviews as a podcast, we had about a month off after AA, and then we went, bang, let's do Infiltration. 6 issues. It was fun, actually. It was the first time that Luke was on the podcast, and he sort of stayed. He came on in issue 1 of Infiltration, and he hasn't gone off since. So he must like it, or we're either keeping him captured. I think it may be the second one, but I shouldn't really tell you that, should I? I shouldn't tell you that we've actually got him locked up in a basement. I'm kidding. But yeah, it was great. We had some new guests on there. We had Andy, Dave, who else? We had other Rob. But yeah, and it was just awesome. And we've also recorded at that time Spotlight Cup, which you haven't heard yet, but we had Chris McFeely on there, and that was brilliant. So you'll be hearing that in the new year. And in fact, tomorrow, New Year's Eve, or today, whenever I decide to upload this video, the final issue 4 of Stormbringer, the review, it will be released. So look forward to watching that and listening to it, because it was a bit of a mad review, that one. We had a lot of technical problems, and we were sort of like taking the piss out of each other a lot. So hey, it turned out to be a good podcast in the end. But also that month, it was the first time I got into Prime. Before that, I was a general hater of Prime. I'd watched like the first pilot episodes and thought, oh, that's bad. But then something sort of, I don't know, it just clicked in me, and all of a sudden I wanted to watch Prime, and I did, and I like it now. I liked it a lot more in September, because I was actually in the moment and I was watching it. And I do like the first season of Prime. I think the first season of Prime is one of the best seasons. Season 2 is okay. Season 3 is second best. And then Predacons Rising, I don't like it at all. It was good up until the end. Up until the point where they went, now we're just going to completely make the characters do something that they wouldn't do. Now we're going to have Megatron just say, oh, the war's over. I've been captured, now I know what it feels like to be in prison, so let's not fight anymore, Because that's Megatron, isn't it? No, it's not. That pissed me off a bit. But yeah, apart from that, it's a good show. The toys aren't that great, I have to admit. I only have a couple of the toys. But the show is good, and I would recommend the first season to anyone who wants to get into it. The second season, it's a bit long and it's a bit convoluted, but once you get over that, there is some good episodes in the third season. So yeah, and also that month, that was it really. The rest of the month was not that good. I restarted sixth form again for the third year. I know, third year, because I had to retake some, so I stayed on where a lot of my friends went to uni, which kind of sucked. Plus, the lessons weren't great. I mean, going in lessons with younger years is not really nice. So I had sort of all that for the first couple of weeks, and it was a bit, oh great, this is just great. But I've grown to accept it, and it's all right now. I don't mind. So October was quite a good month. I went to Dublin and I met Luke, co-host of the podcast, who I've mentioned him several times now in this video. It was a good weekend away. The day I met him, we went to Dublin City Comics. I brought loads of crap, which I still haven't opened. I'll show you that in a minute. And it was just awesome, and the rest of the days was just chilling out in the really nice city of Dublin. A lot of people say it's not very nice, but the bit I was at, it was quite nice actually. So yes, Dublin was a great trip. I met up with a good friend. I brought loads of crap, which is still in its plastic boxes, as you'll see in a minute. And I stayed in a really nice hotel, despite a tram being outside, which kept me awake until 12 o'clock at night. But what else happened that month? Well, Batman Arkham Origins came out. The next game in the Batman Arkham series. Now, the previous two games have been created by Rocksteady. However, this one was created by Warner Brothers Montreal. And it's a good game. I like it. I really do like it. It has exactly the same game mechanics as Arkham City. It doesn't expand on them, however. But if they had changed the game mechanics completely, I would have hated it. Because Arkham game mechanics are some of the best for that type of game, for a superhero game. And I really like that they've stuck with it. Plus, the story is good. There's a few twists and turns which you don't expect. And especially as the trailers make it out that Black Mask is the main villain, when maybe that's not entirely true. But if you're a fan of the Arkham games, get it, because you won't be disappointed. It's definitely worth a playthrough. Even though it doesn't have many consumables and many collectibles, it does have multiplayer, which I actually played for the first time last night, and it's good. I like multiplayer. It's got a quick leveling up system. You get a ton of crap stuff for just doing one sort of game through, play a match, and you can customise your characters a hell of a lot. So I would, worth it. If you've got Xbox Live, get the game. But apart from that, the only last thing that happened in October was I got another t-shirt, Transformers t-shirt. As you can see, I'm wearing my Decepticon t-shirt here. I picked up another one, thanks to Raz, good friend Raz. If you're watching this, Raz, thank you very much. It's basically from a t-shirt appeal website, which every day they come up with a new t-shirt based on TV, film, or a cult classic, but with a twist. And the one I got was of Megatron as a sort of a church a church stained glass window look, with, I think it's Latin under the bottom, which says "Peace through tyranny." It's brilliant. It's black and then it's got that as centre front. So next year at AA, I will be wearing that. If you see me around, you can locate me by that t-shirt. But thank you, Raz. It's a great t-shirt. I may wear it beforehand. Who knows? But yes, on to November. Now then, November sees the release of 4-2, which I did go and see with two good friends. I liked it. I thought it was better than the first film, sorry. The first film was heavily drudged down in mythology. Viking mythology, Thor mythology, which for someone who's never read, watched or seen any Thor before, like me, it was a bit overwhelming. But the second film actually toned it down a lot. Now that you know the characters, you know Loki, you know Thor, you know Thor's father, you know there's a whole load of crap that goes on in their universe. You know Asgard. It made a lot more sense the second film. Plus, it had a bit more sci-fi element into it. And it ties in a lot with other Marvel films, especially after the credits. If you go and watch a Marvel film, wait until after the credits, because there's always something they'll add in. And this one relates to Avengers 2, I believe, or the next Marvel film, which is Captain America, which again I'm looking forward to, which comes out in the new year. But it was a good sequel, and hopefully they'll make a 4-3. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. Also, Raz and Luke became hosts of, well, unofficial hosts of Iconic Reviews. I think it was beginning of November, end of October that we actually asked them if they wanted to become hosts. So we had to keep it quiet all this time. And for me, I'm a bit of a rambler, as you can tell. It was quite hard for me to keep it in, but we did, and now we're announcing it officially. They are hosts, and it's great. I am looking forward to a year of podcasting with them. They bring joy to the podcast. They bring laughter and just great elements, and hopefully together we'll be able to make the podcast better for you listeners. And who knows, we've got a lot of stuff coming up next year. Just keep an eye out. But also, Masterpiece Star Saver was announced in November. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Japanese Transformers series, Headmaster's Master Force Victory Zone. So when I hear that the Star Saber is being made into a Masterpiece figure, I have to have it. It is the main thing I'm looking out for next year, above all else. I don't care if, say if they release, if next year they say, oh, we're going to release a Triptychon, like we did Metroplex, I'll be like, yeah, that's cool, but I want my Masterpiece Star Saber. I want Star Saber. I have a need for Star Saber. Like Ray, who has been absent for YouTube for quite a long time, used to say, you have a need for something. Not a want, a need. You need, as a collector, you need to have something. I need Masterpiece Star Saber. So who knows? I might get it at AA. I might get it beforehand. It should be something to look forward to. But finally, November was big for Doctor Who. It had its 50th anniversary in November with Day of the Doctor. Again, I've talked about Day of the Doctor before. It was a good episode, had some flaws, but then again, after watching the Christmas one, it makes a lot more sense. But the whole, around the episode, the fandom on YouTube and through different media, it was a massive. You had an adventure in time and space. You had 3 or 4 documentaries about Doctor Who on the TV, on BBC Radio 7, I think, or 4, BBC Radio 4 Extra. They had Doctor Who's audios being shown. You had Doctor Who books being made for the 50th. You had all sorts around the 50th. I made tons of videos around the 50th for Doctor Who. So it was just great to see, and to see people who normally wouldn't mention Doctor Who, see them come out and go, yeah, I like Doctor Who, and this is why. And it was awesome because I found out that quite a few people like Raz and Jim like Doctor Who, so we had a bit of a discussion there. It was a good time to be a Whovian. So yeah, and it was well deserved. They could have done better. My expectations were higher, but then expectations always let you down. So hey, we shouldn't get our expectations up when we talk about science fiction a lot. But if you think like that, you're a pessimist, and I shouldn't think like that. Let's move on to December. And in December, I started watching the Justice League, the 2001 animated TV series. It's good. I like it. I've watched up to season 2 of it, and it's well written. It's got a lot of mature themes for an animated show, which I assume is based for kids. There's a lot of dark things in it, which is like, this is actually quite good. I like it when cartoons do that. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to seeing where it's going and watching the end of it. And plus, I found out I own a Javelin 7, which is in there, in the cupboard. So maybe I'll review that one time. Who knows? Next year, maybe in the new year, I'll get round to reviewing it. I do have a Flash somewhere, actually, in the style of the show, which I got with it years ago. So I have to dig him out and try and hunt for him. But yeah, I do like the show. I'm looking forward to finish watching it off next year. And hopefully I might make a video about it. Who knows? But finally for December was Christmas. You know me, I love Christmas. I'm in a festive mood. I'm festive now, hopefully. But yeah, Doctor Who. It was a good episode for Christmas. I liked it. It was a great way to see Matt Smith leave as the Doctor and Peter Capaldi enter. It sort of wrapped up the whole of Matt Smith's time in one episode. It didn't have many flaws, actually. And I really enjoyed seeing Trenzalore and the Town of Christmas and all these different alien races responding to this message, which was actually the Time Lords through the crack in the wall. It's so cool, and we find out who the Silents were and why they did this, and that there was actually a splinter group of this church, and it was really good. And then the ending with Peter Capaldi saying, do you know how to fly this? Was like, yeah! Looking forward to next year when Peter Capaldi actually takes over as the Doctor proper, and his first series, because I really enjoyed the first series of Matt Smith's, so hopefully I enjoy the first series of Peter Capaldi. He's an older actor, so hopefully he'll be a bit more mature. He'll have a bit more age experience coming through when he's acting as the Doctor. So I'm really, really looking forward to it. But yeah, that was really it for this year. It has been a year of lows and several highs. Auto Assembly, the Dublin meeting Jim, and a couple of other things. But mostly, it's been a bit of a low year. I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit of a shit year. Last year was really good, except Auto Assembly was okay. It's strange how it works, isn't it? But this year, Auto Assembly was the best, and this year's been shit, so who knows? But last year, when the year ended, I was sad to see it go, but this year, I'm actually looking forward to next year a hell of a lot more. I mean, next year, not only do we have the 30th anniversary of Transformers, we have the new series of Doctor Who with a new Doctor, we have tons of films coming out, we've got games coming out like Destiny, I really want to play that, Burial at Sea Part 2, Bioshock Infinite's last bit of DLC, we have just a crap ton of stuff, Auto Assembly 2014, probably going to be the best so far, who knows, it's shaping up to be that way. It's just going to be a fantastic year. Hopefully I'll be making more videos, hopefully I'll be trying to edit them down because, yeah, this video is long. I apologise now if you've watched this far, I absolutely apologise. I don't edit hardly anything on these videos, so it's just raw. And this video has been so long, so thank you for watching. There'll only be a little bit more to go, thank you. So yeah, that is it really. Overall, not an average year to be honest. Highly looking forward to 2014, and I hope you are. I hope your year has been better than mine. I hope you had a good year, and I hope you have a good year next year. But before I go, it's now time to take a look at all that Christmas goodie stuff that I got, because everyone's been doing their hauls, and Dave did say that we're not showing enough hauls. So here's mine. Hope you enjoy it. So here is my haul, and where to begin? Well, I'll start off with the non-plastic stuff, basically. The stuff that isn't toys. Firstly, this Xbox Live 3-month Xbox Live Gold membership, which is good because I haven't been able to play any multiplayer in ages, and I just love playing Xbox Live multiplayer. It adds to a game, in my opinion. Next, Pacific Rim on DVD. I did mention this earlier. As I said, I love the film. I really wish there was some more special features on here. It needs some. It definitely needs some. Next, Doctor Who, the Black Guardian trilogy. Now, I have the Myron Undead and Awakening and Enlightenment on DVD files, but I don't have Terminus. So now I have Terminus, and I have all of Peter Davison's Doctors on DVD. Plus, we did get Megalos and Nightmare of Eden, which are good stories. We've watched them. Brilliant. So yeah, looking forward to watching Terminus. I did get Doctor Who, the complete 7th series on DVD. I haven't opened it yet. Looking forward to having a look at some of the special features. Rewatching some good and some bad episodes from the season. But overall, just generally can't wait to see that. And of course, the DVD which I'm most proud of, to be honest, and happy I got it, was Star Wars, The Clone Wars, the complete Season 5. The last season of The Clone Wars, unfortunately, which is a shame. And I'm sad about that, because I love the Star Wars, The Clone Wars. I really wish it weren't cancelled, because this season is good. It's a good season as an ending, and it should have been more. And I don't know if anyone else has noticed this, in the trailer for that season, there was a clip of, it looked like Coruscant being attacked by the droid army, which is sort of the beginning of episode 3, but it's not in the actual season, so what happened to it? Because we know there's a couple of episodes that they didn't show, so it'd just be interesting if next year we actually get to see them. Starting off with books, I did get a couple of graphic novels, starting with Transformers Ironhide. I did have this in single issue form, but now I've got it as a trade, which is good, because I like this mini-series. It was at the time of the ongoing, and it was just a nice relief to get away from the ongoing. And also, Revelation. Although my Revelation, if you can see this, is tattered. It's got all these crease marks in it, and it's really bad. The inside of the actual comic isn't affected in any way. It's just the outside. So I'm going to probably talk to Amazon and try and get a better one sent. And finally, book-wise, I got this, the Doctor Who 50th the Essential Guide. It's basically everything up to... where do we get up to? The Ice Warriors reappearance in Doctor Who from the very beginning to then. So, quite cool. Looking forward to reading that as well. That's it for books. Now on to plastic crack. I will start off with non-Transformer stuff first. Firstly, this. If the camera's picking it up, or if you read that, it's Star Trek. It's a Jem'Hadar attack ship. I love the Jem'Hadar in Star Trek. I've always wanted to get some of their ships, and so we got this from eBay. It was new, obviously, in packaging. It's from Furuta or Furuta, I think they're called. They make they're a Japanese company who makes Star Trek models, and they made a Jem'Hadar attack ship, which goes nicely in scale with the Diamond Select models. So I'm really pleased with that. I love the detailing work on it. Yeah, hopefully I'll do a review of it soon. Next, I also picked up for Christmas this, the Excelsior from, I think it's the first, it's Excelsior under Sulu, NCC 2000, from Hot Wheels, which is great because I like the scale of it. I know Diamond Select did do an Excelsior class, but I prefer this size compared to Diamond Select's models. And it's still really nicely detailed. The blue is under here is a bit over the top, but it's metal. It's all metal, and I like it. It's really nicely detailed, and I'm just happy I own an Excelsior class now. Next thing, which you probably have guessed, is again another Star Trek ship. This time, a bigger Star Trek ship. It's the Enterprise E Sovereign class. From Diamond Select this time, because look. Battle Station. Jean-Luc Picard, the Federation Staff Enterprise. Yeah, I absolutely love this model. It is well detailed. It's just absolutely amazing. The Aztec panel lining on here is amazing. And this is the Nemesis version, because they did two. They did a First Contact version and a Nemesis. This is the Nemesis version, which I prefer a hell of a lot. It's big, it's bulky, but yet it's got some absolutely lovely detailing on. So, top marks to Diamond Select for actually making that. And the final non-Transformer, well, I say the final bit from the Star Trek, really, is this. The Enterprise D from, once again, Diamond Select. I absolutely love this. It is huge. It is massive. And it's just beautiful. Wow, what can I say? I already have the Future D, which is up there in Diamond Select, but now I have the proper D, and it's just absolutely a pleasure to have. Massive. Let's
make sure history never forgets the name Enterprise.
Oh, best quote ever from yesterday's Enterprise. That's just brilliant. I love it that it's set on the default setting for that, because I could just keep it on there all day and just listen to that phrase over and over again. Because yesterday's Enterprise is one of my favourite episodes of Next Generation, along with Cause and Effect. So, hey. Next, we do have some Transformer bits. Yes. We have probably one of my best purchases this Christmas of what I got. It's the him. Ultra Magnus. Classics Ultra Magnus. Not a KO. Not a reproduction, an original. And yes, it did come in box, which means yes, I also have a Skywarp with it, whose legs are flimsy, even though it's just come out of a mint in seal packaging. 70 quid, mint in seal packaging for the 2-pack. I can't believe it. I'm astounded. So when I save up some more money, I'm going to get the Fans Project Commanders set for this. So, to turn him into a proper Ultra Magnus, but at the moment I just love it that I have a Classics Optimus Prime mould. I don't care if it's Ultra Magnus, I don't care if it's Prime, I just have that mould now, which I really love. It's awesome! Oh, it's nice plastic, it's good. And then again, the Skywarp, I already have that mould, but it's just nice to have another Seeker. Next is something that isn't here, and I promise I do have it. I'll probably put a picture below or at the end. I also got a model kit from a Star Trek model kit of a Galor class Cardassian cruiser. which I still have yet to make. So when I do make it, I'll show it off in a video. But it is 1400 scale. 14, yeah, something like that. It goes in scale with Diamond Select and all the other ships I've shown. So I cannot wait to build it. It's going to be an interesting job, I think. But that was it for what I actually got on Christmas. Now to what I've purchased after Christmas. The first one is I think I've fallen in love with, to be honest. I love it. And it's surprising because it's a movie toy. It's this. Dark of the Moon Sentinel Prime. Leader class. With dodgy electronics. Because it shouldn't say that. It should say, I am Sentinel Prime. And the moment you put a mech tech weapon in the top, it should then say the other two phrases. But this says the other two phrases without a mech tech weapon in. And plus, its knee is mistransformed. So I'm going to take it out of the packaging tonight, have a look at it, make sure it's fine. If it's not, I'll take it back from The Range, which was a shop near me, and swap it for another one, because they had tons of Sentinels in there. No Ironhides though, that's a shame. I was also looking for a leader class Ironhide, but they didn't have one. But I'm just happy to have Sentinel Prime, because at the moment I'm going through a Dark of the Moon phase. I really am into Dark of the Moon, don't know why. It's a bit strange and worrying. Hopefully it won't last long, who knows. And then the final thing is this. Halo. If you probably didn't see it because the box is massive, it's the Halo Pelican from Halo 4, a recent set, which I also picked up actually today. I'm building it downstairs right now. It's good. I like it. I have the original Pelican, which I've reviewed on this channel, so now I have the updated version, which is quite awesome. So yeah, that was it for my haul, and that's it for the video. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Sorry it's been so long, I apologise. I only make these once a year, so don't worry, there won't be a big video coming soon, I promise. But yeah, thanks for watching. Happy New Year, guys. I hope you have a great New Year, and I hope you have a great celebration on New Year's Eve, and I will see you all in the New Year for a review of probably Sentinel, because, as I said, I love Sentinel. I don't know what it is, I just love it. But yeah, until then, see you guys. Bye.